Hi, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Jasmina from Astrological Astrology. And today I have a holiday special with my best astro friends ever. These people are my second family. I can say that absolutely with bottom of my heart. They helped me thrive and do what I do now. So I'm so happy to have them all here. Not all of them, but they're all in hearts with us, the ones that are missing. I talked about this group in my other videos as well. We are called Judders. We are the zero the zero group from Steve Judd's first class. We are zero patient from his school. And we have been, after 2 years of going to his classes, we start this little group, the 12 of us. We meet every week for 2 years now. We talk about astrology. We help each other, help other, and learn with each other. And it's been an amazing experience. And I wouldn't be here without these beautiful ladies. So without further ado, I'm gonna introduce them. So we have Alexandra, Anoo, Catherine, Joe, Debbie, Tracy, and Valerie. And I want to mention those that are not here, that were not able to join us today. Debbie Mac, another Debbie, Ozzie, and Romana. And I hope I didn't miss anybody. So
Kristen.
Oh, Kristen. I'm sorry, Kristen. See, that's she's cherry on the cake. The reason why we are doing this today, we want to inspire others to kind of find their own tribe, astrological tribe, so they can, it really helps with learning astrology, with growing your practice, wherever you are in your astrological journey, having your people with you, it's very, very helpful. So I want to introduce my people to you, so we can inspire you in any way. And we also, if we can help in any way to any of you, we are here in any astrological way we can. I'm going to let my friends introduce themselves. We're going to start with Alexandra. So hi, Alexandra. How are you? Where are you at now? I know you're traveling a lot, so tell us where are you at, and why astrology? Why here? Why us?
Thank you, Jasmina. Today I'm in Marlborough in Wiltshire, England. Couple 3.5 weeks I'm going to be spending a few months in southeastern France.
Nice.
I'm a Capricorn Sun, Sagittarius Moon, Pisces rising. I've loved astrology since I was a child, but definitely gotten into the depth of it as an adult. I really love reading charts in groups and studying astrology in a group setting. I've done that with a few different instructors besides Steve Judd, who is, of course, one of my favorite mentors for astrology. I have really enjoyed spending time getting to know each of you. And my favorite facet of astrology is synastry. I think it's so interesting how charts combine, and each relationship has a unique energy of its own. I find that fascinating. Thank you for having me here today. And
of course. For everybody who doesn't know what synastry is, it's when you look at two natal charts together and see how two people help each other grow, or maybe sometimes what issues they have and challenges, and then you can just see the dynamics between the two people. So that's always very interesting, especially knowing your family members or friends and the people you're close to see how your dynamics are going. Thanks, Alexandra. I know you are you had a lot of knowledge from different people, so I'm happy that you can share. For everybody who's listening, I'm going to put all the links where you can find my friends, and you can connect with them if anyone resonates with anybody, their stories or what they are offering. I'm going to put everything in the descriptions below, so you can always reach out. Thanks, Alexandra. Anoo, you had an interesting journey, astrological journey as well. So welcome. Tell us
Yes.
more.
Hi. Hello, everyone. So we've already done a video together, haven't we, recently?
Yes.
And I kind of introduced myself um, in that kind of atmosphere with yourself. So
Now you had to reveal your big three because last time you
do
didn't.
I
So
have to? Okay. Sun in Libra, Moon in Sagittarius, so the same as Alexandra. Not quite the same degree though. And I'm a Capricorn rising as well. So yeah, basically, I my journey with astrology started with Steve in terms of just being interested in what he was doing as an astrologer, and I was, started as a client through him, and then I didn't really think much about wanting to do astrology until I don't know. I think once you start following Steve, it's very difficult to not follow him, and you just become absorbed in listening to what he's saying, and it just becomes part of your everyday kind of interest. And I just decided to do the beginners and the intermediate course that he was doing in COVID times, wasn't it, during the pandemic?
yeah.
And I think we all kind of joined around the same time, not knowing each other obviously then. And I just, yeah, stuck through it, and I've learned so much through him. And also our group has been really fundamental. I don't think we would have got this far had we not had this group.
Absolutely.
Obviously, I'll probably leave that for the rest of the ladies to
Yeah. We're going to talk later what astrology
yeah.
brought us in our lives and why what did we get from this journey. Thanks, Anu. This I know you're a very good astrologer. Your intuition is always on point. So I like that about you. Catherine, you're next. I know you have another career with astrology. You're always blending together. So tell us all about that and your astrology journey. I know it's a long one from a long time ago, and you are expanding to a new horizon. So tell us all about that.
Oh, thank you, Jasmina. So my journey with astrology, I think, started as a teenager when I used to get teenage magazines and read horoscopes. And then when I left home, I signed up to do an astrology class at a women's group in Cardiff. And then in 1997, I found a faculty of astrological studies on this new thing called the internet. And I did the foundation course there. And then I used the knowledge of astrology to help me navigate and make really important decisions like where to live, what to do, and should I marry this person, and what day should I have the wedding? And then I'd say that astrology took a bit of a backseat while I was busy raising a family. And then I got back into it through photography because the faculty wanted to have a photographer come and photograph their summer school. So I was then able to sort of rekindle my connection with them. And I met lots of really, really interesting people. And I was aware of the MA in cosmology because I went along to a Sophia Centre conference on art in astrology, and that inspired a dissertation that I did for my undergraduate in the history of art, and it's just sort of grown from there. I first saw Steve online about 10 years ago, and one of his little videos just went straight to my heart. I burst into tears and I donated. And then, I joined one of his classes and then signed up to be a group after the class had finished, and I met all of you. And I started my MA in October. So I'm now mixing with people from the Sophia Centre who are all over the world, and I'm absolutely loving it. So, my big three, Sun in Taurus, Moon in Cancer, and Libra rising. So that's me.
Lovely. We are so excited for your journey, and we'll support you until the end. I think it's very exciting for you. Thank you, Catherine. Debbie. Debbie is the she's the, I don't know what to say, she's the empath of the group. She's the one who feels everything. So welcome here. I'm so happy to host you as well. Tell us, what is your journey? Where are you? What is happening? I know you're coming from esoteric astrology, so that's why it's more interesting. You always bring a new new perspective into our group.
Oh, thanks, Jasmina. So yeah, I'm Debbie. I've got a background in very into the esoteric side of things anyway. Probably always have been. Like Catherine used to look at the girly magazines and the horoscopes and the Daily Mail and all of that stuff. And I think it was one of my clients. I'm a therapist, so I've got a bit of a background in sort of the medical model, shall we say, but alternative medicine as well. And it was one of my clients that first had a reading with Steve, and then he told me, and it's probably about 20 years ago, and actually Steve was a paramount person in a life-changing experience for me around my health, and I think that's what sold it. That's what got my grip into astrology, and so sort of tapped into it here and there, and then like you guys, we all connected via doing Steve's course online, which was amazing. Prior to that, I'd done some esoteric astrology, so that's from the Claregate method, which is like Douglas Baker. Unfortunately, he's now passed, but we use we've got the sort of same interpretations of the houses, of the signs, whereas the signs do actually we add Vulcan and the Earth, so therefore, instead of having 10 planetary rulerships, each sign has its own rulership. So there's 12. And I suppose the overall reading that I get inspired is it's working on the psychological or a bit of a medical sort of slant to it as well. My 3 are Scorpio. I'm a grand trine. It's what they call a grand trine, so it's all water. So that hence the empath. Is Scorpio, Sun, Cancer, Moon, and Pisces rising.
Thank you, Debbie. Yes, you're the water in our group. I'm definitely the air. I don't know if anybody beat me in the air department, but excellent. Thank you. And now to Jo. She's our hostess of our group. So thanks for being here, Jo. I know she likes doing charts and helping parents and kids. So tell us more about that, Jo.
Okay, so I'm Jo. I'm Welsh, but I'm an expat living in the UK, just about an hour from London. Astrology. Well, I'll tell you my big 3. I'm a Cancer rising, a Capricorn sun, and I have a moon in Gemini. And for people who know a little bit about astrology, it's in the 12th house. So I would only really go on camera for you girls, right? I'm a behind the scenes kind of girl. And you just mentioned about being an empath, Debbie. It took me 10 years reading lots of different books to discover that I am also an empath, which when you understand it, it's great. But when you don't understand it, it can be quite tricky. But the reason I'm mentioning this is that I'm still quite new to astrology. I only discovered it in 2019 as a result of Steve, because he was very generous and did a little course that he just sent some audio files. Because being a Gemini moon, my worry is that I was going to die of boredom, to be perfectly honest. But now I've found astrology, I know that's never going to happen. But if you don't have a birth time in astrology, you can still tell a lot, help people enormously with astrology, but to be really, really helpful, you need to have a birth time. So you go through a process called chart rectification. And so I went through this process with a lovely lady in California who I'd never met. So between that conversation and the subsequent reading I had with her, she told me in like an hour and a half what it had taken me 10 years to discover about myself in a book. And I was just blown away. I just couldn't believe it, because I got to be honest, I was very skeptical about astrology. I honestly thought it was a load of nonsense. So I've had to eat a lot of humble pie. And now I think it's the best thing ever, and everybody needs to know it, and especially mums and kids, because not an awful lot, if they just know their little one's moon sign, they can nurture their nature. And I'm very much about trying to intervene sooner so that kids and hence adults feel comfortable being themselves, because that's what astrology gives you. It's like a witness. It's going, yes, this is how you're wired, and it's great to be who you are. So that's my astrology story.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I know, I coming from a skeptic side, I think it's good to have that point of view, how, you kind of, when you start actually learning and getting information and knowledge, you open your mind and you see what it is, right? Most skeptics just don't know anything about astrology. That's the problem. They just have the superficial. So
I was
that's
one of them.
yeah. So that's the. I just want to mention that Joe and I are pursuing our knowledge in a London School of Astrology with Frank Clifford. So we are doing that at the moment, second year already. Yeah. Forever students with Gemini moons. And
Exactly.
now, so Tracy came a little bit later, but she's one of the most valuable members, especially when we do mystery charts. She has it all. I don't know, I still know. Maybe it's because of her Scorpio placement. Tracy, please tell us what is your astrological journey and more about that.
So my name's Tracy. I am a Scorpio through and through. I'm very Scorpionic. The tattoos. And that's, I think, the reason why I love astrology so much, because I managed to work out people through astrology, because I've got an astrology sun, Scorpio sun, Capricorn rising, and a Leo moon. So, my Scorpio nature meant that I like working out why people do what they do, why events happen when they do. So, and astrology really helped me with that. So I've always been into it, but I was never had books, but I never felt confident with my knowledge of astrology. And then I started doing Steve's courses. And then I was still doing my day-to-day stuff. I trained as a hypnotherapist. And then one day I found Jasmina on a video, and I was like, oh, Judders. I was a Judder. So I contacted Jasmina, and then I found you lovely little people. And honestly, I've been with you for about a year, just over a year. And my knowledge of astrology now is crazy amounts better than what it ever was. And I learn something new every time we meet on a Wednesday. And I've got, I feel like I found my tribe, which is really important for a Scorpio. So it's fantastic. And I never, if I miss a Wednesday, I feel so sad. So yeah.
Oh, thank you, Tracy. I know I feel as well. Sometimes when I have to miss a Wednesday, I'm like, oh no. And the person now that is left, it's Valerie, and she says she has such an interesting story about astrology and everything, and I can't wait for Val to share this with you. Coming from your mom, that's why I'm thinking. I think it's a beautiful one. So like a second generation of astrologer, which is I love that. Thank you, Val, for having coming. Tell us all about your astrology journey.
Yes, I'm Valerie, or Val. I have the honour of being the oldest member of this group. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but there we have it. I'm Aries.
The wisest. Oh, yes. Thank you.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you. Sun in Aries, Moon in Capricorn, with a Pisces ascendant. So we have a bit of fire with water being chucked on, with a bit of earth chucked in. So there you know. Yeah, you're right. I've got a bit of a longer story. I hope you don't mind. My journey naturally pulled to astrology from a child, literally from a child. And then my father was a spiritualist, caused lots of trouble in our family. But they ultimately, when I was early married, they started going to the local spiritualist church. And for whatever reason, I decided to go along. And there was Mr. Douglas Baker that Debbie mentioned from the Claregate College, what a man he was, and he just blew us all away. And that was the only way in those days that I knew how to lay my hands on a astrology chart. And you would send off to the Claregate College and they would give you a little strip of typed stuff that came out of their whatever their computer was, and then somebody hand drew the chart. And my mum got my sisters and then got books and started doing it. Well, obviously from that, in fact, I didn't realize how many of his charts I've got. I've got about 8 or 9, maybe 10 different people. I found them in the cupboard. So that was my early days, but he was very highbrow. Eventually, believe me, I have had a dabble with just about every named astrologer you could think of, but I did do a qualification with Mayo, the Mayo School, which I was very pleased with, and then I found Steve Judd, not online. He was going around the South Coast doing talks, and basically wherever he was talking, I was driving along with my mum and we'd sit in the audience. And eventually I thought I have to have a reading, and he was then based in Bath. And I think the most interesting thing I wanted to tell you girls the other day, when I first went to see him, he was saying to me, well, this is a bit of an exciting time for me because things are changing. He said, I've just exploded on the views that I'm getting. I'm just touching 10,000. Well, if you look at what he's getting now, that is peanuts. And then I remember leaving him and I said to a friend, if he ever wanted an apprentice, I want to be that apprentice. And blow me, when he started teaching, I missed the first course. I couldn't believe it. I missed it. I was devastated. Anyway, I joined. I think my mum paid actually because I didn't have the money, but she said, oh, I want you to learn from him. So I did all of his courses. And I remember at the end of it, he gave this opening. Who would like to, there's ladies want to talk to each other. And I thought, no, I'm not going to, oh no, I'm not going to do that. But it's like a worm in the head, isn't it? And in the end, I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. Well, I tell you, girls, my best decision ever. My big deal, and I want to say this particularly in case people listening can identify with this, all the girls here know that I have some sort of blockage. I'm surrounded with books. I've been to every astrologer on this earth. I listen to them, read them, and I still don't feel I can do it. But what the girls have done in the last year have opened up what the blockage is, what it is that I need to overcome. I've really identified it in the last few weeks properly to myself. I'm ready, girls. I'm ready. I'm off. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bit of work to go, but I'm going.
Yeah, this is, well, thank you for this very much, because this is a great example that we are all coming from a different place. We are all coming with a different knowledge. We are all different. We have different ways of practicing astrology, what astrology means and how we do it and what we want to do it. And we all have this thinking, all of us, trust me, whoever's listening, we all think that we don't know enough, because that's what astrology is. It's an endless well of knowledge, and we're going to all learn until we live. And it's just about helping with what you know. I think that's the best part of it. So I'm very happy that this group exists and that we grow with each other and we help each other in different ways. I don't know if I'm going to mention my story. I think I already mentioned. I'm just going to be quick. Astrology found me when I was, I think, my first Jupiter return. For you who know astrology, is around 11, 12 years, when Jupiter is kind of a planet of knowledge and wisdom. And, when it comes back to the same place when you were born, that's when astrology found me. And I've been on and on learning a little bit here and there. And reading books. What helped when internet came, because I remember there was I live in Canada at the moment, but I grew up in Croatia, so a different environment. And Croatia is a very Catholic country. Astrology is not something that was out there, so it wasn't available, accessible. But I remember in the late 80s, beginning of the 90s, there was this magazine. It was called Astra Magazine, and there was this once a month it would come out, and it was before internet, and I would just buy this, like my allowance went to that, and I was like, and then manually, there was tables of how to calculate your ascendant and how to find where your Uranus is and where your Mars, and I was like, each month I was like, oh yeah, and there was a bunch of numerology there, and and palmistry and all this. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. I was obsessed with it. So I kind of knew what's happening in my family, you know, who is what. And I got little booklets of my family members. So I knew everything about Capricorns, Cancers, Geminis, and Pisces. Those were my first signs that I knew all about them, right? And then later, I found Steve online. Actually, I was a part of Google Plus. There was a social media, Google Plus. I don't know if just after Facebook. It was before Instagram, before everything. And so a bunch of people who had Google accounts and having business, they would go there. They were like some kind of circles and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I found Steve there, and then he had a YouTube. It was probably 15 years ago. I think he started 2011, 2010, like it's almost 15 years ago. And then I book a reading, I think 2013 or something, every year. And then he said he's opening classes. I just jumped into it. It was a perfect timing. It was a pandemic. And but I wouldn't be practicing or be here where I am without my girls. So very encouraging to do and go out there and showcase. And it's still scary, to be honest. It's still scary, but the other reason, before we start, I want to give everybody opportunity to talk about what astrology, what do they, you know, what do we see from astrology, and where is astrology going, and how we can use it in the best possible ways. Just talk about a little about that. And before I go there, I want to mention, if we decided, if anybody wants a group reading. So this is something very specific, but we feel that it's very good because we were in this group environment, and it's been very helpful to get a perspective from different points of views, from different personalities. And I tell always, each astrologer will tell you something different about the same thing. It's just because this is this personal touch that every astrologer has, personal point of view. That's why there's no cookie, you know, cookie, how do you say the cookie box things, you know,
Cookie cutter.
Yeah, cookie cutter things. Yeah, there you go. So there's no cookie cutter astrology. The astrologer who is reading the chart gives his or hers or theirs point of view. So it's very important that you know that, because so as a group, we would like to offer everybody who wants like a group view of their chart, or if they have an issue, and we will try to accommodate in the best ways, and they can then donate to the charity of their likings instead of paying us. So if you know anybody, or if you're interested, let me know in the comments, and we'll reach out to you. We'll figure, you know, the logistics. That's another reason why we're here, to offer that service. So I want to, who wants to start? I don't want to put anybody out there, but who wants to start to tell us more why astrology and not anything else, and what do they want to accomplish with astrology, and how astrology helped you in your life in a more particular way? Who wants to start?
I don't mind.
Okay, go, Catherine, please.
So I've really benefited from astrology because it helps to explain events in a way that's almost non-personal. So when it comes to disappointment in life, when it comes to maybe communication issues, when it comes to things not kind of going the way that you'd hoped, it just helps to, and I would say, curate the events of your life. So that's really, really useful for me, because it makes it less personal, and it puts it in a bigger context. And it really has helped me in terms of understanding a different point of view, because I think in the world that we live in now, it's so easy to get convinced that the algorithms that we're fed are the truth. You know, and when you have conversations with other people, or when you look at a chart, or when you sit down and have a conversation, you realize there are always different perspectives and different ways of seeing things. And one of the lessons that I shared with my mother was a very simple one from an astrologer that I met at summer school. And it was to do with the cycle of life, or the wheel. And he said, you know, the wheel, you can feel you're stuck on it. And when it turns and it goes down into the dirty ditch water, you know, and you just think, oh, this is hell. Don't worry, it will eventually turn and you'll come back up to the top again. But realize that when you're at the top and you're having a good time, don't be surprised that the wheel turns again. And it's a very, very simple analogy, but I think just understanding that one simple concept about one cycle really helps to give you or your client hope that whatever it is that they're experiencing will eventually pass, you know. So
Yeah.
So that's my bit.
Yeah, thanks, Catherine. I 100% agree. It helped me understand myself and others better. That's number one. And knowing that there is an end to some kind of situation, it just helps me a lot. So I agree 100%.
I'll go next because I'll lead on from what Catherine's just said, if that's all right, Jasmine.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank
Go ahead.
you. Okay. So that going down the ditch and coming out in the other side, it's almost like in the Buddhist thing, it's like the wheel of samsara, isn't it? And there's different points on that circle of life. And if we imagine astrology as the circle with the dot in the middle, that's like, and it's, as we know, it's sort of split into 12 generally. And I suppose you can use that as an analogy, can't you? And like look at that part of that chart and see what's going on, you know, and to know that even though I might be a Scorpio and, you know, everybody else has got their own sun sign, we've got all of the other aspects in us anyway. And that's sort of, for me, that's like the macrocosm, i.e. what's going on out there in the world with all the planets and the macro consciousness, and it's going on inside in the microcosm. And it's like, as an empath as well, and I know Joel sort of reflect this, it's like sometimes you're feeling something, it's not yours, it's what's happening out there. And I think astrology has helped me to discern that. And, you know, like with family members as well, and just sort of seeing that they've got their own journey, their own soul, which is what esoteric astrology is. It's like looking at what the soul is here for, not the personality. So that's why in esoteric astrology, of course, we look at the sun and the personality, but our main thing is looking at the rising sun, which is the soul's perspective, and why that soul is here on this journey of life, and using the personality to support the soul in that process. And so it takes away, oh, I've lost my job, or that's happened. It's like, so what's the reason behind that, and looking at what the soul is trying to achieve. And if you can grasp that from inside, that's sort of like a golden nugget of information for the reasons why you're being here, so that when we're in that depth of that darkness, we can have an understanding. And I think
we can see the light. We can see the light.
Yeah, you can see the light. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie. And now the special surprise guest, Steve Judd, is here with us. Thank you. Thank you. We are filming this. I'm just letting you know this is recorded.
You can film it as much as you bloody like. I'm still going to give you the finger. Yeah. Okay. Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for joining. We were just saying how this group meant a lot of us and are on our astrological journey, and everything. It's meant a lot, and it's all started from you. And yeah, well, it did. It's a fact. We are just So I know that everybody knows Steve, of course, but he has something new coming up. He's working on this astrology, history of astrology documentary. So Steve, we would like to talk about that as well. And before you talk about the documentary, just because we are now reflecting on what astrology gave us in life, what did it brought us? So what did it bring to you? Just shortly, 2 sentences.
I got no idea to that second question. I got no idea. No. I've been trying to get the documentary going for 20 years, but as those, you got my chart, you got my chart's common knowledge. Jupiter's on my midheaven now. Oh, yeah. So if I was ever going to do it, it's going to be now. And yeah, we finished filming in Europe. we went into the studio for the first time 3 days ago, and I recorded the narration for episode 0, which is the intro to the whole thing. And next week I'm in the studio for 2 days, and the week after for 3 days, and the week after for 2 days. And hopefully we'll have the narration for episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4 done by solstice. And there's still every intention to get the first few episodes out by the end of February, and to have the whole thing ready by the start of May. That's still on schedule. And I was just talking about it with one of my friends. It's a shame that it had to be done so quick, because, you know, in a space of a week, I was in, 10 days, I was in Salzburg at the grave of Paracelsus, and then I was up Mount Olympus, and then I was at Delphi, and then I was in front of the tomb of Galileo and Michelangelo, and then I was in the cathedral in Florence. But it was all 2 hours here, 2 hours there. And yeah, I burst into tears in front of the tomb of Galileo. I didn't know that was going to happen. I just burst into tears because Galileo's the great, you know. It's just, words failed me. I was just, and when I was in the front of the tomb of Galileo, immediately opposite, 20 yards on the opposite side of that basilica, is the tomb of Michelangelo, and right next to him is the tomb of Machiavelli. So it's quite an impressive place. And what's really nice is the amount of support I've had from so many people. I've got Kathy, you. Thank you. You know what for.
Oh,
thank
you. Thank you, Steve. Well,
I
love to encourage people's creativity.
Yeah. But so many people, there's a few people who have actually invested in it, not to a great amount, but enough. It's taken me about, I've shelled out about 45, 50K.
Wow.
Which is like crippled me. I've done 3 days of readings in the last 6 weeks because I'm so busy script writing.
But this is your legacy.
It's the adventure of my life.
Yeah, it's your legacy.
It's so fulfilling, and I'm creating something, and now we can actually see it taking place. It's forming. It's so exciting, and I just hope I don't die before it's out. You know, it's just great.
No.
I'm not going to die, but
No.
it's, well, not yet. It's the most exciting thing I've ever done in my life. It's a real fulfilling testament to 45 years of slog. And now, I mean, I know you guys, I'm only going to say this once. I am so proud of all of you. I really am. You've done so well. You should be proud of yourselves. I'm also got the second group now, and the third group who have joined together. They're calling themselves the Juddettes now, which is kind of weird. Sounds like a 1970s skiffle band. I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah, I was saying we are the patient zero of your students.
And of course, we cut it down to 9 episodes, plus this episode 0, which is 10 minutes, introducing all the different people we're interviewing, all the different locations. This episode 1, which is from about, there's references to 70, 60, 50,000 BC, but it really starts about 5,000 BC through to 500 BC. Episode 2 is Greece. Episode 3 is Rome. We went to Mount Olympus, and we went to Delphi. We went to the Colosseum, which was awful. Don't ever go there. It's horrible. It's a place where people were ritually slaughtered for amusement and fun for 500 years. And it's just steeped in blood. And there were couples getting married there. It was just like, it's horrible. But the Basilica to Santa Maria, where you've got the the solstice line running through the church with all the different constellations each side of it, and a little hole in the roof. And that's where the statue of Galileo is. And the Pantheon was the best thing in Rome. The Temple of Saturn was okay. That's when the caustic astrologer came out. And then we went to Bologna, which is a 12-sided city with 12 gates around the outside, a gate for each sign of the zodiac. And we went in Rome. I went to the Campo de Fiori, where all the female poisoners of the 1500s were burnt and hung because they tried to kill the Pope with poison. But it's also where Bruno was burnt at the stake. There's a big statue to Bruno in that flower market. And I did a little homage there. And we went to Bologna, where you got where Cecco d'Ascoli and da Ferrara, the teacher of Copernicus, was burnt at the stake. And then we went to Florence. So that was Rome. That was Italy. So that's episode 1, 2, 3. Episode 4 traces it from the Byzantine Empire, from Constantinople, 450, 465 AD, through to about 1150. So all the way around the Mediterranean coast into Spain. And we did a lot of stuff around the Alhambra, particularly the mosque in Cordoba. Anyone who hasn't been to that mosque in Cordoba, it's amazing. It's awesome. I hate that word, but it's awesome. Episode 5 is the Renaissance from 1150 through to about 1400. Episode 6 is Magical England, where we did a lot of stuff on Queen Elizabeth, Culpeper, Lily, Dee. We spent a day in Mortlake looking at the Mortlake Church and the Thames where Dee was working. Episode 7 is going to be the Americas. Episode 8 is back to England with the return of astrology around the late 1700s into the development of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And episode 9 is 1930 to 2030. And then there's the blooper reel. And that's going to be 20 minutes long because there's so much fun was had, so many screw ups, because you know what I'm like. I'll go, right, and this placing is like that. And oh shit, I've got it wrong. And they filmed the whole thing.
Oh, that's going to be my favorite episode.
Oh, the bloopers is hilarious. The blooper reel will be funny. 8 o'clock in the morning outside the Alhambra. I'm on my third double espresso of the day. It's like, it's.
We are all so excited to see it. I can't wait for it. I love history. I love what you're doing. I think it is amazing. And I'm gonna, for everybody who's listening, I'm gonna put a link below how you can help Steve with this documentary.
Well, look, I'm gonna be putting it out to everyone because I've got to make some money.
Crowdfunding.
It's taking my life savings. This is going to cost about 100. I reckon this is going to cost about 120k in total. And then if I add the amount of money that me and my producer would have made if we had been working, so lost wages is another 50 on top. Now, I've turned down a lot of money from Netflix because they want complete control.
Yeah.
So we're going to build our own website to host it from, which is going to be a bloody big website because this is all done in 4K. So it's going to be about 4 terabytes, 5 terabytes. No, what am I saying? 15, 16 terabytes, which is,
Did you have to buy new
16 million megabytes. Massive. So we're building our own website so that people can stream it, not download it, but stream it.
Yeah.
So perhaps if anybody takes us up on that group offer, Jasmina and everybody, if they wanted to donate to Steve's project, that would make us very happy.
Yes. Absolutely.
I've had one client from Hawaii fund me for about 4,000. I've had another client from Bermuda fund me for about 15. And then two people have funded me to £1,000 each. But there's a group called Astrology Hub based in Hawaii who are just amazing. They've featured so much of me, and their viewers, because I've done a lot of work with them recently, they've funded me about £5,000 just in donations.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's,
Have you tried GoFundMe? What's that about? I don't know if that works.
Is it what?
GoFundMe.
It means I'm using my life savings to fund it.
No. There's something called GoFundMe.
GoFundMe. Yeah.
I don't know.
They take a cut.
Do
So
they?
I
if-
don't,
if-
one is, I
if-
don't want to ask for
if you
money.
just-
I don't want to ask. I don't want to be seen as asking. If it's offered, I'll take
No, okay.
on it as a loan. You know, when with the investments, I'm taking it as investment, and then when it makes profit, people get their money back plus 20%. But I don't want to ask. If it's offered, I'll say yes, because you know I've got to find another 25k over the next 3 months, but I'm sure that will manifest. I'm working every hour I can to do more readings to make money for it. So yeah, it'll manifest. The money's been there, so I'm not that worried by that, the money, and I'm not worried about the availability of the studios and the quality of the people I got working with me. The videographer, particularly, he's done so much work for. He was Cristiano Ronaldo's personal videographer.
Wow.
And he's done loads of work for things like Pepsi Cola and Dior and things like that. And then now he's teamed up with me, and he's like, I've never done anything like this in my life. But
See,
Save the best till last, eh?
did you read his
once
chart?
I-
Did you
once I
read his
got hold of
chart?
his-
I want to know.
Once I
Did you
got
read?
hold of his chart and started talking about his relationship with his
See?
father, who was a videographer,
See?
and he was like, he's sold, got him. So
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. You had a touch of his chart. That's beautiful.
So, and the producer and his sister, the producer lives just up the road in Croydon. His sister is the one who does all the hotels and the bookings and the flights. It's a really tight group. There's 5 of us. I'm a narrator, funder, director. The Caven is the producer and second cameraman. His sister is the booker for everything. There's the videographer who lives in Lisbon, and there's Teresa, who's the pitter. You know, the one who asks all the questions we don't want to answer, like have you got health insurance and things like that. So, and that's it. That's the tight group. We're not letting anyone else in, keeping it tight, and
Well,
it's.
well, we are proud of you.
Yeah.
Oh,
We are
I'm
very
proud of you guys. I really am.
No. It takes
And I know you've had some interaction with Stuart and Deborah, who are running the second group, and they're great people too.
Yeah.
I'm just. Teresa's fond of saying to me, 4 years ago, I was stuck in a little pokey little bedroom, 8 foot by 10 foot, starting Zoom courses because what else was I going to do? It was COVID. And now look, 4 years on.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you that, Steve. Did you know that this was where you were going to be at that stage? You know, when you were teaching Oz, because you never mentioned it. Yeah.
Didn't you look at your transit?
It's just not getting it. You come on, you know as well as I do, you can't look at your own chart and be objective.
Okay. Yeah.
You can guess, and it's just not getting in your own way. So when opportunities open up in front of you, you either say yes or no.
But we did discuss it as a group with you, Steve, when we looked at your chart.
I remember that 2 years ago. Yeah.
And then after you did your course in Croydon, I watched one of your videos, and at the end of it, you were talking about, you know, how exhausting it had been, and I was thinking, oh, you're overwhelmed, you know. And I remembered what you were saying about, you know, there's something that I'd really, really love to do, and that it was at that point when I'd seen you at the Croydon event that I wrote to you and just thought, you know, something's pushing me. So,
wow,
overwhelmed
now. I haven't got a moment. You know, I haven't. I've got. This is why I've reached out to people who worked with me and are now doing readings for themselves, because I'm talking with a lady in Israel to build me a new website as we speak, and then I'm going to put a lot of you guys on there with your fees, because I've got a 2-year waiting list.
Yeah. We are ready.
I can't cope. So, and I've got all these people who are just wanting readings, and I'm like, So what do? I farm them out.
You're doing your life's work.
If you want me, you'll have to wait a year or two. If you want, otherwise I can. There's people I've worked with who they've learned some of their astrology from me, and they'll only charge sort of half of what I charge. So some of them are going to come to you. So yeah, watch this space.
Excellent. No, we're gonna spread the word about the documentary, help you as much as we can to raise awareness of what you're doing. I think it's gonna help many people to understand astrology as well, because there's so many nonsense out there.
The thing I'm going to want from you guys most of all is at the end of February, I'm going to want you to publicize this documentary.
Oh, absolutely. Oh yeah.
Okay. Because it's not going to be all glitzy, glamorous Hollywood. Well, it is going to be pretty Hollywood. It's going to be very good production. But it's going to have its rough edges, because I've got my rough edges. They're not paying just for the history of astrology. They're paying for me and the rough bits that go with me. And that's why
I think that makes it more authentic, though. Do you know what I mean? I don't like this glossy Instagram perfect stuff, because that's not life, is it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I've learned how to channel my inner David Attenborough. Right. So instead of and it's because of moments like this that society has developed this history in astrology, and it is the history of Western astrology that's led us to where we are today. So instead of that, it's like, it's moments like this. But of course, it's to get to this moment in time where the history of Western astrology inspires us. and the videographer's going,
Ooh, goosebumps.
and I'm cracking up, because I'm like, come on, really? But that's what they want.
Well, you have a Gemini midheaven. You can do it.
Exactly.
When you were talking, Steve, when you were talking where you'd been and all of that stuff, all I was hearing was around the world in 80 days. So, yeah.
we are very excited to see this come to life.
I had a chat with my daughter about all this. I talked to my daughter about this. I said, look, I'm spending your inheritance. And she said, I don't want it. I just want your crystals, because I've got a big crystal collection. And she said, I want you to, you've worked really hard for this. Go and spend it and have some fun with it. I thought, okay, that's carte blanche. So yeah. So see, even if it don't work, and it's going to work, but even if it don't work, I've seen the fire of the gods over Mount Olympus. I've seen Chiron's cave. I've seen where Prometheus was chained to the wall. I've seen Galileo's tomb. I've seen the tomb of Paracelsus.
I have an idea. We're going to make a tour out of his documentary.
Oh, don't even go there. Series 2, 3, and 4 are already being talked about. And the idea of doing a massive tour of these places is also being talked about. And I'm going to be 70 next year. So if I can clone myself.
Oh, you have it, Steve.
Well, we're all little clones. You kind of cloned us, haven't you? There's little female versions of you around.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility, yeah. Tight little group of about 12 to 15 people, yeah.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Everything. This is all amazing.
Anyway.
I just living through this, it's amazing. And I think, with upcoming astrology, I think the new Galileo might come and we might learn something new about the universe. I'm just feeling it. It can be the big as what Galileo had found out all these years back. Anyway.
We'll see. Yeah. I'm not.
I'm crazy.
The biggest success of my entire life has been to create other astrologers, apart from my daughter. That's the single best thing I've ever done. I'm getting new astrologers into the world, and you lot are on the cutting edge of that. So, yeah, thank you and well done.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. This is exciting.
I'm not going to hang around because I've got guests here.
Okay. Thank you for dropping by. We appreciate it. Good luck with everything. We're here if you need anything, and have a great new moon coming up.
Let's stay in touch, yeah?
We'll stay in touch. Thank you, Steve. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye. Thank you. Love you all.
You too.
Oh, excellent. There you go. See, now I'm all sentimental. I like Anoo's.
I don't know how to do that, or I'd be doing it as well.
Yeah. Anyway, we had such a lovely surprise appearance from Steve. So let's just we talked about a lot of things. I think just want to finalize a few words from those who didn't speak yet. So I think Debbie and Catherine did. So everybody else, please, just a few finalized words where are we going from here? What do you want to tell people about astrology? Just like that.
I'll just quickly jump
Yes,
in because I
yes.
loved what Debbie said about the huge, big Sagittarius, big picture of your soul. I love that. But I also love we're living on planet Earth. I've got a Capricorn sun, and I love how the simplest things in astrology, not very complicated astrology, can tell you actually what to do in your day-to-day life to make your life easier. I like it that it's practical. I love that
Yes.
it's funneling the big picture. I absolutely love that. But it can also do the little picture as well. So,
Absolutely. Yes. Thanks, Joe. Who's next? Who wants to say a few words? Final words. Alexandra? Yeah, go ahead, please.
So I came to Steve through my intuitive, sensitive mentor, and I think that astrology blends really well with those human qualities. You can't read astrology without using your intuition and your sensitivity to an individual's needs in the moment. You know, it's very much a dialogue. I love the potential, the myriad of possibilities that astrology shows to someone. You know, it's not limiting, it's expansive. I love archetypes, symbol systems, languages. Astrology is all of those. Thanks.
Oh, yes, that's right. I always tell it's not a science, it's not a religion, it's not it's a category of its own. That's how I see astrology. It's magical, it's practical, it's everything. I feel astrology is everything in one. Anyway, those are my last thoughts. Anoo, please go ahead.
Jasmine, mentioning the magical, I think when I reflect back, it was more of an awakening for me. So I was going through the awakening process, but I didn't know what it was. So synchronicities, you know, seeing things happening in real life that were actually linking to things that I was thinking or experiencing or not understanding. And as soon as I did the course with Steve and listened to all of, you know, how different you guys are in the group, and I've learned so much from you, everything clicked into place. And then I understood actually that's what this means. And, you know, but I've been on the journey for years and not known it until now I can understand it. So, and also it's nice to see that Steve is also in the same boat as us. So just because you're an astrologer doesn't mean that you know everything.
Exactly.
You are also on a journey, you know, and it's nice for us to see how he's developed.
Yeah.
And even though he's proud of us, we're also proud of him as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Anoo. That's 100% true. Tracy, do you want to say something? Well, well, Tracy, you're muted. Tracy, you're muted.
Sorry, I was just telling us to be quiet. I would just say my last was there'll be no wars if astrology was taught in schools.
Yes.
You know, you know, it's something that I think should be taught at a young age, and it'll make, as Joe said, it'll make children understand themselves, which is really, really important.
I like that. Yes, I feel that with Uranus and Gemini and Pluto and Aquarius, we might see some of those changes, and we are the future teachers of astrology worldwide. Yes. Valerie, your final words? Nothing. Well, just whatever is in your heart, even if it's nothing.
Well, I mean, my interest, I did forget to say that my mother became a really good astrologer and did hundreds of charts, and it was all personality, which is obviously that's gone through to me. I like the personality side of astrology. I'm not really a predictive kind of person, you know. And the big shift for me has come through from all you girls is to understand what the outer planets are doing, because when you go back in time, the astrologers told you, well, we're not interested in Pluto and Neptune and Uranus. And my whole world has opened up since you've really got me to understand the impact their movements are having as we go on. So yeah, I'm learning more about that side, but I'm still very much into the personality aspect, what makes you tick. And what I do really love, as all you girls know, I love the what are you here to do? That they're my two focal points. That's what I like.
Perfect. Excellent. I know. I like predictive, to be honest. I like to see. I like personality, but I like to see what's coming and looking all these patterns. Oh, again, and this like my Gemini brain. I forgot to mention I'm a Gemini. Who doesn't know me? Gemini Sun and Virgo rising, very mercurial. So looking at patterns and all these connections is definitely my passion. Excuse me. I like to be practical as well. And I have always a practical approach to when I talk to people. You know, this is what is out there for you on a menu, and then you what you do with it. You know, it's kind of that's why there's always free will. You know, a part of it. But that's a topic for another time. Thank you all for being here today, sharing this space with me. It was really a pleasure and honor to have you and to share my friendship with you and broadcast it so for everybody can see what astrology does to people, how astrology brings people together, help people. And I hope we're going to be inspiration for future generations and for people to join and have their own astrology tribe. Thank you all. Have a lovely day and see you soon. See you Wednesday. Bye.
Thanks, Judders.